Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, good evening to some. Another edition of Howard's Views. Am I just opinionated or a know-it-all? Which one? First, let me thank the men and women of the armed forces. Those from the past, those of the present, and those who will be going one of these days. Thank you for a job well done. Now today I'm going to speak once again about banking and credit cards. You think you've heard it before? No, listen again. I have a few new angles. We called this program Banking's Axis of Evil 2. The Credit Card Cartel lies, cheats, deceives, and defrauds its cardholders, but not only its cardholders, the merchants as well. So I say that America's danger comes from within. Banking has changed. Unless you're around my age, you have little or no concept how much banking has changed since the 1930s. In those days, during the Great Depression, there are many stories told about bankers, the foreclosing of mortgages on the farms, evicting families, making them homeless. And certainly, you've heard the stories about the Okies, the great migration from Oklahoma to California, and how they came out here without a dime. Sometimes they were refused water as they drove on these highways heading for California. At other times they were turned back at the border. And unwanted people, similar to other great migrations. But many came here and became very, very successful. You've seen it in the movies, The Grapes of Wrath. That movie depicted such a family. But all in all, the banks then were not the intentional predators that they are today. MasterCard and Visa. Everyone knows these pieces of plastic, what they look like. It doesn't matter what emblems they put on them trying to disguise them. It's MasterCard and Visa. These are the Achilles heel of your financial well-being. This is what can break the finances of your family. Often, while you think you're outwitting them, they're busy plotting another way to give you, the cardholder, the shaft. It's a shell game, and you're the prey, the eventual victim. So the dangers you face, we all face a danger from within, a danger that can literally destroy our peace of mind and our well-being, as well as our country. Again, let me repeat, our danger is homegrown terrorism by America's credit card cartel. There's mafia thinking in the banking industry. So this slide says, mafia thinking and banking. How are they similar? In a TV interview, a professor of contract law told the host that even she could not interpret the legal jargon in credit card contracts. They tell you to always read the contract. How many of you who are listening to me now have ever read the contract? Ever read a single paragraph of the contract? I've tried reading them. They're ununderstandable. If they're ununderstandable to a professor of contract law, think what they are to the average person. That in itself is an intentional fraud. The other point this professor stressed is that they can be changed at the will of the bankers. In other words, no contract that you sign with those companies is guaranteed to be the same in a month or a year from now. Ordinarily, a contract signed by both parties remains for the length of time that's specified. But the banks state they can change the rates, they can change the terms at any time. Is it a contract? I don't think so. It's a fraud. They deceive the cardholder constantly. And you, if you're a cardholder, and I'm sure that everyone listening to this program is, you cannot go anywhere to have recourse, to have someone else champion you, because the banks have the power. You simply can't fight them. You have no leverage. The rates, the late fees, the over-limit fees can change at any time. They can double them. You have signed a contract that binds you to their terms. If they double the late fees and the next statement you get shows $100 as a late fee, you have no recourse, and they don't have to erase it. Think of that. A contract where you are obligated to fulfill the terms as they change them. So it's the same lesson repeated. But this is a lesson I can't repeat to you often enough. If you've heard it before but not paid any attention to it, then think back and remember some of the things I said. How many of my predictions have come true? That's not because I'm any type of a genius. I predicted a mortgage crisis. I predicted that the rates, or rather the national debt, credit card debt, would increase by about $200,000 a year. I said that about 10 years ago, and it has happened. Every year it goes up 200,000 or more. Now let's talk about Countrywide Mortgage. The CEO of Countrywide Mortgage, a company that went down the tube and almost overnight lost 80% of its value. In other words, it lost $20 billion in value. 80%. Can you imagine that? $20 billion wiped out. If your money was in Countrywide, you had $1,000 in it, you ended up losing 800 of that 1,000. But the CEO, Angelo Mozilla, walked away with $137 million, while investors are losing their shirts. You cannot loan to people who are in financial trouble without getting your company in financial trouble too. But that was his specialty, loaning to people who had financial problems.